Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tea with Ravi. And in this session, in this podcast, let us go through some of the updates from the Atlassian ecosystem in the last week. Now, the first update is about Jira Service Management, and Jira Service Management has received significant updates, or I should say, new features in the last few months. And these updates are quite amazing because personally I've done a lot of JSM implementations. I have used Jira Service Management, Jira Service Desk, as it was called, a few years back. I've used it quite a lot, and when it comes to Jira Cloud was, of course, talking about the level of customizations that you can do. It was always a bit limited, but I think Atlassian knows about it and they are trying to improve it regularly with new features. And if you look at the quarterly update, Jira Service Management August 2023 update, there is a link which you can find in the description where you will find all the links. So don't really worry about the links. You can follow these articles on the Atlassian community. Now, the first thing that I was quite interested in was basically the assets. Now, assets is amazing because when you're using Jira Service Management, especially when you're using Jira Service Management, you need ability to keep track of your CMDB. And if you can integrate it with your Jira Service Management project or portal, you can, of course, do a lot of wonderful things. And on Jira Cloud, fortunately, we have assets, and Atlassian has just announced this new EAP, Early Access Program, where I believe they want to test, especially with the enterprise customers. I guess it is only for the enterprise customers. They are basically looking for some feedback, and basically they need these enterprise customers to, try out this new 3 million object. I guess they have increased the number of objects that you can. I think there was no. I'm not really sure if there was any limit, but I guess if Atlassian is saying that now you can track up to 3 million objects, then I guess they are probably confident, or maybe they have done something to their platform. And I guess they think that yes, it is possible to track up to 3 million objects. I think 3 million objects, to be honest, it depends. I mean, your objects could be anything. Your objects could be basically not just physical objects like physical machines, keyboard, hardware, but it could be like even a small thing. And when you have, let us say, 10,000 employees, multiply that number with, let us say, 5. And I'm just talking about physical devices. You can, of course, have your servers. So 3 million is not, it may seem like a big number, but I guess if Atlassian is confidently saying that yes, you can track 3 million objects, then I think they are quite sure about it. So I will, of course, keep an eye on this. And unfortunately, I don't really have access to any enterprise Jira Service Management instance, so I can't really give it a try. But insights or assets on Jira Service Management is actually in my list. I will definitely make videos on it, and most likely there will be a course as well on training.sparksys.com eventually, hopefully in the next few months. Let us see. I'm trying really hard. So this is good. I'm happy that Atlassian is doing something proper on Jira Service Management and assets. And talking about Jira Service Management, we all know that, and this is something that Atlassian, I think, announced sometime in July. They have basically summarized everything, like all the significant updates in this post. The August 2023 quarterly Jira Service Management update post. Basically, on if you have used Insight, then I'm sure you have tried the templates, because when you are using inside when you are trying to create asset schema for the very first time, you need some help. You need some help with structure. You need some help with some attributes. And I believe these templates, which now you can try on Jira Service Management Cloud, will definitely help you. I think this is like a good example where templates are indeed necessary. Because if you talk about templates on Jira Service Management or just Jira software, for example, those templates actually are not too different from each other. I mean, of course, those templates are all about, pre-configured schemes, but usually people just, start using those templates and they actually mess up their instance, because whenever you create a project with a template, you are actually creating a new duplicate configuration. But when we talk about asset, you won't be, I don't really think in any organization you need to create like a lot of schemas, right? I mean, you can, but you don't need to. I mean, let us say you're talking about a schema for keeping track of your hardware or maybe your contracts or customers, whatever. And I'll come to that customers in just a minute. But I think this is good that there are templates now that you can try out on Jira Cloud. And this will, of course, help a lot of people who are trying to evaluate Jira Service Management along with assets. Now, talking about customers, or before I talk about customers, the thing that I noticed recently, I think it was, I think I did mention it in one of my previous update video. If you are developing an app using Forge, like we are doing, we are evaluating Forge, and we will, of course, explain it a bit more in detail when we have more confidence in the app. Of course, the app is live, but we are actually adding more features to it. But Forge, although it is great on paper, the criticism was from many developers that it was, or it is still not yet ready for actual production level apps that you can confidently sell. Of course, there are a lot of apps, in fact, quite a lot of apps using Forge, but it is more about usability, like how easily that app can solve a problem. And I think Forge eventually will become the only platform that you need to use or you can use on cloud. Of course, right now we also have Connect, but I was happy to see that assets are now also onboarded on Atlassian Forge platform. I haven't really tried it, but I believe, and I need to explore, like when Atlassian is saying here that assets are now onboarded, I guess they're talking about, of course, some integration. You can basically read, hopefully write asset information from your Forge app. So let us see how it goes. If I have more information, I will definitely let you know. But you can take a look at the post here on the Atlassian community. It is a post from June, like a couple of months back. Now, talking about customers. Now, when we create a customer or an organization in Jira Service Management, it was just a name. But sometime back, Atlassian announced that yes, you can have fields, profiles, so your customers can have more information that you can use to save information, of course, for your customers. And good thing is that these customer related details and the customer itself, it is of course integrated well with your actual tickets. But I also noticed, I believe last week, that when you have these fields for your customers, maybe organizations, you can also perform an import using CSV. So I will definitely give it a try, and I will, of course, like always, I will make a video, like a detailed video on how to import your customers and various fields. I think it is not like you can create any kind of field, I believe. I'm just, this is of course my assumption, but I guess when we talk about customers, if you can store some information, that is great. I mean, that is what you need. And people have always wanted to do it. Like in the past, what we used to do, we used to use Insight. So we used to create some schema for keeping track of your customers. And then when people are raising tickets based on their user ID, you can, of course, perform some mapping. But now I believe these simple things can be done straight away, which is good. So let us talk about Confluence. Now I know, because I keep an eye on the roadmap of Atlassian tools, I know that Confluence will eventually have this feature where you can share some of your pages publicly using something called as public links. This is what Atlassian is calling it. And I don't really have access to this public links feature on my instance. Last time I checked, I might have it, but I also noticed that Atlassian mentioned somewhere on their post here that the Confluence public links feature will be released a bit late, sometime in October, December. So basically there has been a delay. But good thing is that I can see recently, last week, there was a post from the product manager, Nidhi Raj, I believe, and they are saying now in this post that this is coming soon. So basically, what you can do, you can actually create, you can basically create a page like always in Confluence, but you can also share it with others using some unique public link that will, of course, be amazing. It will be super useful. And there are also, few other things, controls, permissions around the way public links will work and behave. So this is great. I mean, to be honest, because I have been a Jira consultant for many years, I of course don't really like a lot of things that Atlassian has been doing. But I'm really happy to see that in the past few months, I think there was some change internally in Atlassian. Maybe last year something happened, I guess. I don't know what. But I can see a lot of new, really useful features. For example, the last really useful feature that I noticed was whiteboards. And whiteboards, I think, based on my limited trial, I think it was really amazing. I think there are a lot of use cases of whiteboard. And I'm quite happy in general from Atlassian that they are releasing useful features, really useful features on cloud. And I can see myself. I think I'm always because I'm a consultant and I'm an independent consultant. I try not to be biased. Of course, we are all biased because we earn our living from providing consultation on Atlassian tools. So we have to be biased. But at the same time, I try to be independent. I try not to suggest a tool just for the sake of it. And Jira Cloud, I can see myself using it. I can see myself suggesting it to my customers. And when I say suggesting it, I actually mean using the tools for delivering something. Because at the end of the day, you're not really supposed to use the tool. You're not really just supposed to use a feature in a tool. You basically have to deliver. Tools will just enable you to do it efficiently and in a better way. All right. So the last thing that I want to talk about is the video of the week. I talk about it every week. Now, I've mentioned in this video about sprint dates. Now, sprints in Jira is possible using Jira software. You can obviously create a sprint, multiple sprints, parallel sprints. And when you create a sprint, you have the option to basically create a sprint with 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and the backlog will give you the option to suggest the dates for you. And from my experience, I know that if you are using that feature, like suggest the dates, it will basically create the end date based on the exact 14 days, which will of course include the weekends, which actually in a way it's not ideal because whenever you create the next sprint will start 1 day after the end date, the previous sprint's end date. So you're actually starting your next sprint on Tuesday and then Wednesday. So I think it is always better to start your sprint on Monday and then end your sprint on Friday, whether you're talking about 1 week or 2 weeks, so that you have like a regular cadence and everyone in your organization is aligned, because people are used to this concept of working from Monday to Friday. So that is like a natural, way of working for many people in most of the countries. And I mentioned this in detail in this video. So do, take a look at this video if you want. And that is it. So I'm trying to make these update videos shorter. and my aim is to finish it in 15 minutes. All right, that is it. That is it for today's video, today's podcast. And yes, it is not just a video. This is also a podcast. If you search on Spotify or Google Podcast, search for my name, Ravi Sagar, you will find my podcast where I basically post these updates, weekly updates. And the last thing that I want to talk about is, if you want to stay in touch with me or whatever thing that I'm doing, if you think it is useful, consider subscribing to my newsletter. Of course, subscribe to my channel, because you should be. Although I don't really ask people to subscribe to my channel, but if you go to sparksys.com/newsletter or ravisagar.in/newsletter, you will find the newsletter that I have. Although I don't really send a lot of emails, like a couple of emails in a month, but I only send an email when there is something significant. For example, if there's a new course that I'm launching, and I'm of course trying to make sure that my community, people who follow me, or if you think I'm doing some good work, I'm trying to of course help you, and also I'm trying to learn from you. And quite like in the next couple of days, I will also talk about my upcoming interactive webinar. So stay tuned. All right, that is it. That is it for today's session. I hope you enjoyed watching and listening to this session, and you also learned something new today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.